Hey, friends, welcome to Find It Friday. It is July 17th, 2026. We're going to be diving into some new markets today, trying to find some deals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my screen real fast, and you can see a new market I've been looking into recently. I'm going to give you all some insights. Bailey, Colorado. If you've heard of that market, maybe drop it in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. But I had some friends recently tell me they bought a property in Bailey, Colorado, and I think some of these homes are kind of older out in this particular market, but they did a nice rehab on it. I think they DIY'd it, like just went out there with friends, parents, and just renovated the sucker and just absolutely transformed it and is just crushing it. And so it just gave me some insights of, what, hey, I'd never really heard of Bailey, Colorado before, but let's look at it and maybe there's some other interesting properties that other people can find there, especially if they're doing pretty well. So where is Bailey, Colorado? Let's zoom out a little bit. We've got Denver over here. So I mean, Denver is, growing like crazy. And so, when you're looking at these markets here, there's a lot of regulations and restrictions, but they obviously want to go and have some fun vacations with their families outside of this area that's a growing population, right? And so, you've got Breckenridge, you've got all these other like major markets. Well, yes, these places can crush it, but one, there's heavier restrictions, and two, the property prices are really expensive. So, why is Bailey interesting? Well, it's very, very close to Denver. It's not that far away. And I was just looking at some pictures of this market. I mean, beautiful area here. And again, I don't really know this market too well, and so do your research on it. But it seems like a pretty cool area to have a lot of fun for these people that are in Denver that are wanting to just have some fun with their family outside of town. So this is why we're really looking at it, because one, I know a friend that's crushing it here. The property prices are reasonable, and there's all this demand here that might be willing to have fun vacations out here if you can provide a good experience with amenities and design and all that stuff. So let's dive in and see what type of properties we can find here. Um, Before I got on the call, I was just, poking around, just seeing what I could find. And I'll show you exactly what I did to find a pretty interesting one. And we'll just dissect it together and you can see exactly how I did it. So there's all these properties here. And, if you're on Zillow, it would look something like this, which is hard to find the needle in the haystack. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to color coordinate these. I'm going to score them instantly and see red, yellow, green. And I've told you all this before. Red is negative performing or break even. Green is closer to like a 20% cash on cash return or higher. So, and red's like anywhere, or yellow is anywhere in between. So what I'm going to do, you could either do it here in the filter and say anything over 20% cash on cash return, or based on whatever your criteria is. But I'm just going to do it here so you can see exactly what I'm check marking. Well, first of all, I want to teach y'all something. I set my defaults to this 75th percentile target. And the reason for that is because every property has a range of possibility in revenue. And if you were to just go buy it and it hit that base 50th percentile average revenue, almost every single property will be a break even or negative. So the only way to really be profitable in this market with this interest rate environment is you have to get to that 75th percentile. And so what we're going to do is we're going to underwrite all these properties as if it's a 75th percentile type of property, top 25%, basically. But you have to factor in capital for that. So just keep that in mind as we're looking at these. So what we're going to do is say, hey, you want anything over, I don't know, $3,000 a month in cash flow? You want anything over 10% cash on cash return, over 100 grand in revenue? Let's see what we can find. So we do that and boom, we have just a few needles in the haystack that we can go look at. It's just, I love it. So, I mean, there's a few of these that are really interesting already that are green properties. This one in particular is the one I saw right before jumping on the call that I was like, ooh, this one I think has a lot of potential and it is for sale that you can go buy today. So let's go dissect it together. So this one popped up, kind of reminded me of my friends that they bought in Bailey. And it's, first of all, it's a reasonable purchase price. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. So the ratio is okay on that. If you were to convert a garage or, convert additional living space, you might want to add another bathroom somewhere potentially, but it's on 1.7 acres. I mean, pretty cool little property. And I see automatically there's an opportunity for amenity game spaces there. You've got this cool like deck. Um, I mean, you could just see like string lights. Like the photos of this could be really cool if you did it right. Adding a hot tub or some cool amenities. The bones are already pretty good of the inside of the property. It just needs some good design and furniture. It's just basic furniture right now. But look at these views. The views are great. I mean, beautiful landscape out there. I mean, just a super cool area. And I just think there's just so much opportunity for like wow pictures, wow moments to make it really stand out and pop. Um, so anyway, there's just a kind of an overview of the property and what it looks like. Now, look at that. There's even kayaks. I think there's like a area you can even go, yeah, kayak or have some fun on the water with family. So um now let's dive into it. So the signals are already showing this could be really interesting. So let's go analyze this together. So we're gonna click analyze. Now, in this market, it's really a buyer's market. So you can maybe negotiate this thing down to like 650. I don't know. You would just need to talk to an agent, which we've got a bunch of agents and our experts here that you could talk to. But we'll just say 650. But maybe we could convert one of these rooms to an extra bedroom or additional sleeping spaces. So maybe let's just juice that up to 6. And let's look at this revenue target. Again, we had the choice in the beginning to set it based on base, target, or upside. It's based on this target here. I think we actually might could get to this upside, and I'll show you why, especially if we're going to be converting another space to amenity spaces, maybe a second living room to a game room. And so what I'll do is we'll leave it here, but we might want to just look at both of these here in a minute, and I'll show you how you might could get to one of these or maybe right in between. So I'm just going to automatically adjust this to something in between. And I'll show you why. Let's just say like 140. Oops, 50% occupancy. 1 second, 52%. Okay, 140. So it's showing pretty good cash on cash return right now. Now, in order to get there, we're already factoring in capital to do that, leveraging AI. So AI is looking at all the pictures and then it's putting in capital for us. Again, what I would do is I would reach out to like Funkin Interiors, Summerled, All New Designs, Chroma Home Designs, like a bunch of these design firms out there, Backyard Social, and just get ideas of like how much it might cost for renovation to factor into your pro forma. And then what we do is we have recurring expenses already added for us. And then you could just go adjust this based on, whatever you think it might be to just tweak it if you want to be a little bit more conservative. So let's keep going. Something like this, you could do like a 10% down second home loan situation, depending on, depending on your financial situation, but I like to do like 10% down if you can, so you can preserve the capital for the improvements. And then, 7% interest rate. So when people are like, I can't find profitable deals with this interest rate environment. Well, look at this. We're factoring in a 7% interest rate already. Just imagine what type of deals you'll find when interest rates start going lower. And we're going to go view summary and check this out. It is showing a 20% cash on cash return based on 140 grand in revenue, 3 to 4 grand a month in net cash flow. So this one right here is very interesting, my friends. Something that I would highly recommend touring or looking into further with an agent, just because I do think it's got pretty phenomenal opportunity. And I think the regulations in Bailey are much softer to where you could actually have some opportunity here. And so, you may be thinking, well, I don't have the cash to go do it. Well, if you don't, I've told you all this before many times, you can click this link or click this download button and literally just send it to your brother, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, whoever, and just be like, hey, you want to go partner up on this thing 50-50? And you can give them all the details. And I've done this twice in my investing journey where I just found a deal like this, sent it to some family, and we went and partnered up. So that's really how easy it is. But really the key is now there's two things you're probably asking. It's like, how do I know I can get that number? How do I trust that? And what about regulations? What about, from an expert perspective, local, how do I know I can do this? So let's go handle both of those separately. So let's talk about the trust in the number. So let's go do this and verify comps. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the comps around this area in Bailey. And we're gonna do, let's see how many comps show up with just 5 bedrooms. Update results here. Okay, so there's not that many comps for 5 bedrooms. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that down to 4 and juice that up to 6 bedrooms here. Just because, again, we might be able to convert a room to additional space. So now we've got 35 comps in this area, and you can go through and see, are your comps here. And what I like to do, like, here's a good comp that's making like 100,000, 120. So you can just go through and just kind of see some of the comps here. But what I really like to do is I like to look at this number here and see this P50, P75, P90. Now, this shows that revenue range based on the total comps that you have out in this particular market. And so, again, if it's an average property and you just put furniture in it, you could probably make like 86 grand is what it's saying. But if you're better than average with that good design, amenities, and all that stuff, you can make like 130. But if you're one of the best and you provide exceptional experience for people, you could get to this top 10%, which is at 150. And what I find is that a lot of people, when you try really hard to make it a great property, you oftentimes kind of fall between this like P75, the 75th percentile, and this 90th, which is that 140 number I was telling you guys about. So there is upside. There's even max of like 230 if you're just crushing it. But that's how we got to that 140 number, which looks really, really interesting. So now let's go back. And so now we validated that there's comps that are supporting that number. So then really the final step, and if I were you guys, now that this property is for sale and you could pursue it, is take that report that I showed you that you saved here and right here, take that report, send it to a local agent, and just start to validate it together with them, leveraging the technology and the local expert. And so if you're like, well, I don't have an expert. Well, we've got this expert section in the app just because that was my problem too. I want to buy these properties, but I didn't know agents, lenders, and all these people out there. So we've got all these experts for you, agents, designers, lenders, all these people you can talk to. And I saved our agent here. Let me go realtor. And she is right here. So Katie Ray, shout out. She is an awesome agent in this market, Colorado market. So what I would do if I were you is I'd get that property, I would send it to Katie, and I'd say, hey, Katie, here's what Strike is showing possibility-wise. What do you think? Do you think it could do it based on your knowledge? And also, are there any regulations in this market I need to be aware of? From there, if she's like, hey, check mark, you can go for it. Actually, I think the comps could support it if you crushed it. Well, hey, the next step, obviously, yes, a lender. But really what I would do is I would go talk to an expert design firm and contractor so that you can get their feedback. And oftentimes they'll give you free 30-minute consultations. Again, like Chroma Home Designs, Summerled, Funkit, All New, Backyard. So, I mean, all these groups out there. And they'll give you feedback of what they think you need to do design-wise and how much capital it might cost so that you could go in, start thinking about these amenities, and then go into your favorites, your saved reports. And then you could just go tweak and customize your report based on the feedback you're getting. And boom, that's exactly how you can leverage the tech to identify these profitable properties, but still work with these experts so that you've got the confidence and the conviction to move forward, because you're about to spend $650,000 on this property, plus another 150 grand maybe on design and amenities. You want to know that that it's going to be a good deal. And thankfully, the combo of those two really helps make it successful for you. So anyway, there you go. That is how I found this property literally like 5 minutes ago when we were before this call. And I think it's pretty interesting. I think someone should reach out and let me know if you'll end up buying it. Okay, I've got Brian asking a question here. Let's see what he said. What if it was a DSCR at 20% down? Let's check it out. Let's go modify it then and see. So 140. So we do a DSCR at 20% down. You're looking at like an 18% return cash on cash. The biggest thing I would do, Brian, is it's still very interesting and attractive. I would also look at these reoccurring expenses here and just really make sure that you feel comfortable with this, because I know, like sometimes when you buy a property, it takes a little time to really get that thing rolling with like you've got to put in all the design, the contractor cost, all that stuff. So sometimes I like to factor in like 10 to 20 grand of reserves just to like have a little buffer and factor it in. So, that could go down to like a 10% if you factor in like certain reserves for this. So again, this is based on about 140 grand in revenue. Maybe it could get up to 150, maybe even higher potentially. It just depends on, it all comes down to one word, that's experience. What type of experience can you provide for these people that are traveling here? And how can you differentiate yourself from everyone else there? And if you can do it, and if you can amenity stack through all these like unique amenities, then you can charge premium rates. And that's how you get to that 90th type percentile for this particular market. So I think that might be it for questions, unless anyone's got anything else you want to ask. And what I would say is, my wife was like, hey, check out Colorado or Mississippi this week. We chose Colorado. Next week, I've been kind of looking into Mississippi, like Biloxi, Gulfport, Bay St. Louis, just because my wife's from there. So we just wanted to see what we could find. So if there's a certain market y'all want to check out, let me know, and we will go find more properties live. So thank you guys for joining, and we will see y'all next week.